Hello everybody and welcome back. Just checking. I know you're going to see me. Let me know about sound. And it's public. Okay, so I hope you can hear me. Let me know if you do hear me, okay? I would like to hear that because I don't have a way to tell. So no pics, no sound. Okay. Wonder if you can hear me now. Okay, can you still hear me, Susan? I thank you for telling me that. Okay. Again, welcome everybody. Both are good now. Perfect. Okay, great. So let's get going. So it may just be a little awkward. I'm going to try and, because I would like to make a drawing so that you actually have it. So I will, as I'm channeling the information, it's a little awkward and I don't have a board, which I would like to have behind me, but I don't have that. Maybe for next time. So for this time, we're just going to improvise. So tonight is about forecast for the 2017, and it's energy forecast, and I'm going to give you an overview of whatever that, what that means and what to expect and how the months are going to go. And also we're going to go look into January and February. There is a big dip, but since we're going right into, so just calling in my people and just calling in, they're your people as well. And we're going to start doing, I'm going to try and talk and draw as well. So you may not see me, but I'm more interested that you see the drawing. So bear with me. Okay. All right. I'll figure it out. So we're going to start with our basic line, and this is our, because I always believe in visual, so even if you don't see me, you're just going to get a visual. This is our basic line of the year, and this is how well we're doing. This is the month of January. I'm just going to quickly draw it. So we're starting in January, ending in December. And you're probably going to hear me clear already. Just some months, because it is, this is February, March, April, May, June, July, August, September, October, November and December. So the ones at the base are the month. So just to let you know, there is the basic line, the lieways, and I'm just going to draw so you can see. I just really wanted to just really understand that this is done in the moment, okay? So I know that the year, this is below any normal kind of thing, and we're probably going to go below. I probably should have made it a little bit higher, but that's okay. So the year we start about here, which is the, a pretty normal level coming from the month before, which is December of 16. And the year is going to go very much like this. And this way, there's going to be another pretty bad going almost underneath, below, and then up in December. Now, I'm drawing a couple wavelengths that have to do, energetic wavelength that has to do with the scope for these happenings, okay? So, and I'll explain why that is, but I want to just kind of get it in this one here. So the first one has to do with, this is financial. And I will take a picture of this one when it's done so you can actually see the writing and it'll be more accurate. This is going to be personal. And that personal growth. So we started pretty high up in the personal growth. And again, these are the bonds. So just going to look at it because I want them to just give me a good visual. Okay, personal growth, there is a big dip. Okay, around July, August. And then another one around December of next year. So for personal growth is going to look like that. Now the one I'm going to do for And the personal growth, this is emotional. So I write that this is emotional as well. And I will give you dates, very important dates, okay? So to keep in mind. Okay, so for this one, this is a heart center. I can't spell. Heart center. And we start pretty high in the heart center because there was such a big growth in the months coming up. So starting from last September 2016 into the beginning of this year, there was a huge growth for heart expansion. So this one is going to stay pretty high. There's going to be, unfortunately, a big dip down here, and then just kind of quickly going in, and I'll explain to you where those big dips, and then there's going to be another portal down here, and another around December as well. So let me talk about these three because I don't want to really confuse you too much. So the first one, I want to talk about the financial part, the blue one, the blue line in the first financial part. For those of you who do pay attention to financial things and are on the market and you want to look out, or money and things like that, there is a period of time that it's going into, and I'll bring this up, but write these dates for you, and you can listen to this at any time. So it's all going to be recorded. There's major dates between February 10th and 18th, and you want to watch for your money. What I mean by that is that if you are investing money and you have some money in the, in certain, and I don't want to generalize and say that all the market is going to go down, but it's likely that during that period of time between the 10th and the 18th and the 20th of February that there's going to be some stocks who are going to be precipitating in value. And unfortunately, I can't give you any more specific, but it's just to give you a heads up if that's what you if that's what you are looking, for. That I want you to pay attention to those dates, and also it's going to reoccur again in November of this year between the dates of the 12th of November and the 28th. Now, astrologically, I don't know if there's any planets influence these days. Again, I don't do any of that. I just go strictly by what I hear. So everything is going to be, around that time. So, and they did come up, and I'll show you where those dips are there. For some of you, during those financial critical times, those two dates, those two generation dates, there's also to warn you about buying and purchasing and wherever you put your money, watching out. There's major lessons that are being geared around those times. So for those of you that have to learn about that and that you have requested to learn about that is part of your own predetermined lesson. Those are the dates that you just want to keep in mind. There is also, if to flourish, to actually really go in and benefit, the time to actually look to invest in the market is really around March. March is going to be such a really, really good time coming out of March. So from March 3rd, March 10th into the 22nd as well. It's a great, very profitable month. So it's also good for businesses. It's also good for purchases. It's also good to see some things coming back to you as a monetary rewards. It is tax season, so who knows? Maybe a lot of us are going to get a lot of money back. Who knows? But in regards to that, there's a huge influx of positivity in the amount of money flow with that. The next wave of money flow in the positive way is going to be around August, and that one, that one actually starts in July, and I'm going to show you with this one too. Okay, and not everybody's going to be experiencing the same thing. So we're following this blue wave over here. This is the financial wave. So it is around, down here. Oh my God. I have to do the opposite. So it's around July that it starts growing and into August, and then it dips again down here, and this one around November, as I was telling you those dates. So the summer is going to be a good month for financial things and for starting of businesses or to increase your businesses. And when I talk about financial or money or wealth or manifestation, it's everything to do with also like starting and beginning of things. So if you have projects that has to do with beginning, those are the good months to do it. Okay, there's a huge planetary influx, and whenever I think of that, I think of Pluto. So it's likely that there's a huge influence of that planet, and I could be wrong, but I'm not hearing anything specific besides those dates. Okay, so that's the financial part. So now I want to talk to the heart part because that is the green line. So the green lines in these big dips that you see right here, these are vortexes, and I will talk about them. So and the basis of these forecasts are, and why there are so many of them and so many people may be reading or picking up different messages, is because around the earth and or through the earth we have these tapes of messages that they keep coming up, and depending upon whichever bandwidth we're in, so they could be, right now there is at least six, they're predominant, and they carry a certain vibrational hue both in color and sound, or a frequency, and each one of them carry a different message, all the way up to even 60. So you can have all kinds of different forecasts and reading, especially if people are not understanding. There's no need to kind of disregard one or disregard the other, as long as you find the one that really resonates with you, because each one of these tapes or bands or whatever that we're getting, there are to inspire us and to trigger the inspiration, and to allow us to really move towards the path that is predestined for ourselves, that we actually chose. And what a better way to do it than to send these broadcasting through these bandwidth, through these constantly repeated messages. And they are when I see them, they just look like these energy waves, they're coming in and they just carry these messages, and not everybody's going to pick up the same message, but some of us will. So for me, I'm just bringing to light some of them. But it doesn't mean that out there aren't others, that other people, that they have certain purposes, are picking up on those messages as well, or others, as I'm saying. So the heart one, there is a huge vortex that is going to come around between the month of April and May. Now the dates are the April 10th to the 15th. The most intense date are the 10th, the 11th, and the 12th of April. Very intense, very strong vortices. And the people that are going to feel this are the people that are working in their heart center. So the people that are working into opening the heart center and becoming aware. This means that during those dates, which probably coincides, as they're telling me, to, or coming really close to a full moon or to another anniversary, or like a planetary anniversary, so either a full moon or a equinox or something like that. I don't know, but that's what I'm hearing. So it's an important, again, this is to promote push. So when it dips down and creates this vortex, it's a vortex that starts going backwards and starts bringing things down. But that down spiral is to pull and go even closer towards what we are not willing to see about ourselves, or to allow us to expand our heart center. That's going to happen again in September. And the dates for September are between September 8th and September 12th. But it doesn't mean that you may not feel it before or after. So these are the most predominant. That's when it's most intense. But some of us may start before, and some of us may start after. Some of us may feel very little. And it may just be felt as just not feeling good, being very emotional, going through periods of distractions, because that's also that downward spiral creates distractions. And that means losses, whether it's losing someone to an illness, or losing a relationship, or losing a job, or losing an item. There is a loss, a destruction, a reduction of whatever it is that is part of ourselves. So it may be even a loss of ourselves. So there may just be a decline into the well-being of our own. A huge. This is where you may go into an anxiety attack. You may go into a depression period and things like that. So. Okay. Sorry, I'm stopping. Okay. So sorry for those of you who have not been able to tune in. I'm going to continue because it's also being recorded, so this is all going to be recorded. So anyway, these vortexes they have a purpose, and they serve a purpose, and it is for the expansion of the heart. For other people, the way they may see it, if you're doing energy work, energy healer, and you're part of the grid, you're also going to see that these heart spaces, or these fractures, they may look to you as fracture. Your people, your beings, your guides may be pointing out to areas in the world where there is an enormous collection of negativity, which right now, if they're showing for April, it will be around Egypt and towards Asia, and and also the the South Pole and the tip of the South Americas. And for September into October, that negativity vortex is actually going to be more in the northern part of Europe and towards Russia, and also around Alaska and towards Japan. So, which will actually affect the California coast as well, and the ocean marine life over there. So it's very likely that during those 2 periods of time that I already mentioned, those dates, both between April and May and September, October, that there's going to be also some weather events that, or natural events that can be traumatic. So anything from earthquakes to storms that they can create some difficulties. If we're talking about, there's another bandwidth which I haven't done the personal one, which is I will talk in a minute. That one it can express itself also in a weather or geothermal, I guess, if you want to say it that way. So that means earthquake for me when I hear that, and that may be more likely. There's going to be a proliferate period of earthquakes around June and July, as it's showing on the thing. So I will tell you that. Now the areas of that, it actually shown around the circle of fire. There's going to be more around there. So again, involving the California coast in Japan, and I also feel close to Australia as well. There's going to be more activity there, and at some point there's going to be a strong one in India towards the coast of towards Japan, not on the other side towards Africa. So those are all going to happen throughout the year, but there's going to be periods of time there's going to be more, which is going to be around July, August for those kind of things. It's an expression of release as well. So these are the releases of energy that sometimes have to occur this way. So anything that is a natural way that is occurring because of the earth expression, whether it's through geothermal, so earthquakes and eruptions of what they call volcanoes, or with floodings, and so any of those, and any expression that has to do with winds, fires, and water will happen with frequency around that. Now, I want to talk about the personal bandwidth, which we started pretty good at the beginning, and that's the one in red. So we started pretty good. We have a dip over here around July, and then again a major dip from where we're at to begin with to where we're going to end that up in December, and that is between December 15th and of 2017 into the 18th of January 2018. Now that's also huge. So there's going to be a lot of turmoils, and that the personal bandwidth carries messages of love and hate. That's for personal love and hate, but also global love and hate. So those two dates can be predominant for things to happen. Now, I'm talking about the ones that they're the most influential, but there's also others that can happen. As you can see, the waves do go up and down in periods of time. So even this one right here, there's a slight dip between March and April for the personal. So for this one, again, it has to do for somewhere between Turkey and Egypt. So they're just showing me a map. So anyway, around the Turkey, and between Turkey and Egypt towards the Dead Sea, there may just be some turmoils over there. I may not be naming the region right, but if I had a map, I could actually point it out to you to exactly where it is. So I may just have to put a picture of that for this one in regards to this. But anyway, there's going to be a decline, or at least a turmoil or an increase of. At the same time, these areas are pulling in more positive energy, so there's going to be an influx of people who are going to want to work towards creating peace and bringing down the chaos that is really trying to, that is not spreading, but it's predominant at this time. And the plan for that bandwidth is to really reduce the amount of animosity or fear attached to especially unpredictability, and also for the people who have they have beliefs that their actions are because of their beliefs. And what I mean by that is that there's at least 85% of the whole world population operates through old beliefs, especially associated with the religion and or beliefs of self and civilization. And that 85% is a little too high. And in 2017, the goal is to bring it down to about 65 to 70%. So that means that there has to be a much greater push into opening the perception of certain beliefs that will lead to peace and to more contentment within self. There's also the bandwidth wave of the discernment, which is also coming in and is actually hand in hand with the heart as well, although the dips come in at different times. I'm going to draw them in the orange for the discernment. And we started pretty low in the discernment this year, so they're actually going this way. And again, so there's going to be 3 big dips for the discernment, and you may not be able to see them because they are in orange. And so it's this one, this bandwidth right here, this one that goes up this way. So the first dip around the very beginning of April down here, this is, it's very close to this other vortex, and the next one is really close to the other vortex, and then it's really close to this vortex. So their discernment is there so that we can start believing our own truth instead of that of what was being told to us by others. There is a huge influx of where is the truth and information coming in from, and really discovering, bringing into news what it is that we've been lied about. And unfortunately, humanity has been lied about many things, and it is time for us to come to this discovering. But sometimes the discovering of something, the bringing to light of something, can create even more turmoil because it is such an influential kind of thing. So that can happen around April. And again, these are all possibility probabilities, and they're based in this moment, and anything can change depending upon how much people are being the wave influences the people's hearts, minds, and souls. And the reason I say that is because everything that is being said and everything that you hear has a reasons for being there. So even this message that you're hearing about discernment serve a purpose for you to then being able to just make your own decisions about what you do hear and not hear, to trust your knowing, to go more from a place of the mind and listening to everything that you hear, that you may hear on TV or that you may have heard in the past, to actually going into your heart and really trust yourself, so that we can make our own our own judgment and decision based on what we do know and not what is being fed to us through the media. And that's the huge bandwidth that there is. At least 90% of the population of the world has a push on working through. So there'll be other speakers, and there'll be other workshops, and there'll be discoveries, and there'll be uncoveries of things that are going to come through at least 3 times throughout this year. So as I was saying, that was in April. There's going to be another one at the beginning of September or towards the end of August, and the other one will be actually towards the end of December into the new year of 2018. And so let me see what else I need to say about that, about more, because I'm going to go into depth for month by month, so I don't want to really do an extremely long forecast for these kind of things. I think that's good enough for now, I feel, because I don't feel they're telling me much. So we're going to go into January, and let me see. So let me just pull up January for now, okay, and just draw it. We're going to do January and February a little bit, so I'm just going to do a graph. So and divide the month. So this is January. From the 1st, I think it's 31st a month, I don't know, but that's okay. So we're going to put the middle as 15, and we're going to do 5 and 10. 20 and 25, and then it's February. I'm going to do the 1st. I'm going to use a different color so it's easier for you guys to see, and I'll take pictures of these. I hope I can post the pictures. Okay, 5th of February, 1st, 10th, 15, 20, 25. And it's not really ending the 30th, but I'm going to put 30 just to get an idea, okay? That's the ending of that. So don't know if I'll get to use it, but I'm going to start talking about this about January. So January forecast for most people, there's at least 4 bandwidth. They are most predominant, and the first one is about relationships and letting go of relationships that no longer serve you. That's important to do to start the new year. It's something that you already learned, that most of you already learned at the beginning of the year, and was effective for you at that point. Meaning. Sorry, I'm getting distracted. What I meant by the beginning of the year was that you've learned starting September. So there was, again, a major push in September to really learn about relationship, to be able to see truth about relationship. But in order to see truth about relationship, you need to be able to see and welcome the truth about you and the truth about others. And I know I feel like I've been speaking about truth for a long time, but that must be what the message needs to be given for whoever is listening to this. And oftentimes our perception really challenges what we do see into both ourselves and others, and it does create some illusions, but the pain is real, and it's really difficult to move through the pain and be able to discern whether it's an illusion, whether it's something that we are seeing because of our fears and our prior experiences, or because it's really there. So that program started back in September of 2016, and it kind of just ended. We're still working on that. So ending of relationships, beginning or being brought to light, the truthfulness of other relationship with other people, and who they are, and who the truthfulness about themselves, but also the respect. So we're going into the respecting and the acceptance of who these other people are and these other relationships. And that respecting and acceptance of who these relationships are, which is happening between the 10th of January all the way into the 10th of February, is so that we can actually allow ourselves to accept them for who they are, and that would help us accept ourselves for who we are as well. So that's the major bandwidth that it's been working with that program. And from there, whoever graduates from learning that lesson will move on to the next lessons, which is the forgiveness of self, which is more into February. The forgiveness of self will really start kicking in between February 2nd and February 26th. And it will be, it can bring some traumas in. It can be very traumatic with that, because how many of us really do have forgiven ourselves, or others for that matter, and without that forgiveness, we continue to carry the pain, that the error that we perceive, whether our own or that of others, it continues to manifest that pain. So again, and with that, there is a huge movement with that one. So the first month is really, there's Mother Mary who's carrying this cross, and is carrying the cross with us to really help us see, our truth, people's truth, and what is it about that. And then she also is going to help us along with Jesus to help you to carry the cross of acceptance. And then Archangel Raphael is going to move in March to help us with forgiveness of self and of others. So this is a beautiful program that is being run by these 3 beautiful beings, and a very, very strong predominant at this time. So what can you really expect? What all does that mean? It means that in specific, if we're talking about relationships and feelings, we're going to go into more specifics. So I'm just asking them, so they're bringing that. So okay, between January 5th and 15th we worked, if any one of you felt like, I know we're on the 17th, but I gotta tell you already what's happened so you understand what is to come. So between the 5th and the 17th of January, the 15th, there was a work on the root chakra and the solar plexus, and specifically on fears attached to self-acceptance. That will continue all the way into March, and then March 20th. What that means is that for those of you who have fears attached to self-acceptance, you will get to have your buttons being pushed over and over and over and over again until you actually find it and get it and understand how to release that fear so that you can accept yourself a little bit better. So what does that mean? That means that you will experience it by not feeling good about yourself, by having people bother you. So whatever that button is for you, whatever that means for you, could be anything about, feeling not being able to take a criticism, feel offended very often. Maybe that you may feel, upset, get upset very easily. It may be that you take responsibility for other people's feelings and emotions, and maybe that you're too concerned about catering to other people's needs or feelings and emotions, and change who you are because of that. So any of those things will be trigger along for you, because there is that big push and work in the root chakra. Now if we move up into the body system, I can see that then we're going right into the throat chakra to speak our truth and to be truthful about our own thoughts and words. So there's a blue influx with purple and gold, both that involves our throat chakra and our third eye. And that's going to start more from the 20th of December into the 5th of February, and it's going to feel where there's going to be a heightened frustration about misunderstandings. So there's going to be a lot of misunderstandings in that period of time where communication is going to be a little bit off. That could be any type of communication, so even electronic communication, which I actually felt it today. So even doing this video, there's all kinds of happy moments. So things are not going. So communication's already showing that, I didn't even know. So I'm getting the message now too. They never tell me ahead of time, just by the way. So I got to experience things the same way as you are, blind as a bat. But anyway, it's all a blessing and it's all great. So talking about communication, it will involve both electronics, both intercommunication with other people, whether it's a work, relationship at home, or parents, children, and that kind of thing. Now, speaking about children, they're just showing if there's going to be a period of time where kids are going to have tantrums, it's going to be this period of time. So whatever dates I gave you, I already don't remember because they move on very fast, and so whatever I gave you is there. But kids may show a lot of tantrums. They're also going to show illnesses of the stomach around this time. And again, I gave you the dates already, so I don't remember them, but whatever, just the past, just the one before I gave you. And I should probably write them so I can remember. But anyway, there's going to be incidents with the stomachs, and again, that's to do with self-awareness, self-acceptance, and not digesting things. All right, so that moves on to the next thing, which goes into March. So I hope you can bear with me. I know it's a lot of information, but I think it will help you. Now we are on a clean streak. Clean, 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 clean. That means clean eating, living, clean everything. And what I mean by clean is that they want us to really focus on our physical body and focus on what it is that we are giving it on all levels, both on a chemical level, on a food level, on fluids. And this is so that, and there's going to be a lot of eruptions all the way into March. So skin eruptions, eczema eruption of even of the scalp. There's going to be rebirth and regeneration. So there is like an overpopulation. I can see all the cells of the body. They're just going to grow really fast. What that means is that any cells can grow really fast. So illnesses. So if you have a wound, it may just fester a little bit, or it just may just proliferate, too much and too fast. And if you have an allergic reaction, instead of being a little one, it's going to be a bit more involved and a little bit bigger. If you tend to have colds, it's going to be a bigger cold. There's going to be more reaction to it. So there's a major response of the body, because it's asking us to actually be more into a cleaner environment, providing a cleaner environment from the inside out. So again, through food, through whatever you drink, to whatever you set up your environment to be, both with lighting, music, colors. Just don't ignore everything. Everything has a vibration. Everything affects us in a very specific way. And the next 3 months, January, February, March of this year, are a major part of, really having a clean living for ourselves. And that will lead into what's coming afterwards, which is to a clean living of our mind. time, so where we're going to go through a review of our thoughts, of our methods, of our modus operandi, as I like to call it, our little habits and all that. That's going to go all the way into mid-March, April, and June, culminating in July, with a lot of frictions and interaction. So that period of time, there may be more of a period where there's going to be fights, arguments and disagreements, because we are challenging our beliefs systems, of our words and our thinking and everything that we are. Okay, let me see what else I want to say. Okay, yes, so that was for the, major. Okay, great. Now, for those of you who are spiritual healers or are thinking of being spiritual healers, this is just for you. There is a lot of talk about many different things. And again, discernment is really big, so it's about discernment. Whatever, there's going to be, and I'm probably going to do more videos on lessons, and they're not going to be live, they're just going to be taped, and then they'll be making available, so these are to come. But there is a need for ideas to be, and I don't want to say new, I don't want to talk about new ideas. These ideas have been around forever. Nothing is new. We've had beings around for eons. We've had all type of beings, all type of galactic beings, all type of things. They've been in existence forever. It's a contradictory thing to say new beings. It may not be known to us. We may not be in this parallel universe, in this existence. We may not have the awareness of these beings, but there's many existence in parallel lives, and in those lives there is plenty of understanding of the existence of many different beings. But oftentimes new concepts or new beings are being introduced with the word new. It's not that they are new, it's that it is new to us. So they just really want to stress that out, because that goes along with the discernment of things and with speaking the truth. And this year is really big about that. Those are the two major concepts that they're being driven into, and the clean living, as they just reminded me again. So, having said that, for you guys that are energy healers, that you do energy work, grid work, or that you're working towards that, to really be mindful of where the information is coming in and what it is that is being given to you, to always use your own source of information, because whatever, we all have different truths, and each truth is meant to be there to serve a purpose, and whatever that purpose is, it isn't to be judged and to be questioned, but it is to be accepted because it serves a purpose for others. We may be able to see whatever it is that is, but it may not be that needs to be disclosed at that time, because otherwise that will be considered interference. So you're really learning, and if you have already learned about that, that's great, but you're really learning about what it is that it means to receive guidance and truthful guidance and discernment about interference with other people's lives. And I'm one of those. I'm on that bandwagon. I've been on it since last summer, and it's probably going to stay on until this summer. So this program has started last year as well, and for some of us we're almost done, and some of you are just getting on it. And it's important to just be open and to receive information, and to take them, especially if it is your own, to really rely on your own information, because your own information is geared to your missions on this lifetime and on nothing else. So whatever it is that you are meant to be, whatever it is that is supposed to be on your path, and whatever it is that you have already decided to have on your mission, it will come to you, even in the form of discernment and of guidance. But sometimes even guidance has to be distorted slightly in order to keep us on the path. Otherwise, we'll be straying off that path. So you're learning about that. So if you need clarity about what is truth and what it isn't, that is to give you tidbits and to make you wonder and expand your mind, because you are going to have to teach this to others. And once you have embrace this aspect of truth, then other truth, other reality will be introduced to you to also share with others. So you have a big job. So hang in there. You're doing great already as it is, and it's going to be a really beautiful, intense year for you in that respect. Now, for people who are entrepreneurs and or have been following your dreams, oh my God, good job, you guys. You know, good job on that. And what a beautiful place you're going to be this year. Because if you've been working so hard at building your dream and creating your dreams, and you started from nothing, this is the year is going to happen for the majority of you, 90% of you. Again, the development of the dreams, and for that to come true, it also depends on you and who you are and what you're doing. So it's not just pertinent on your path, or at least on manifesting it or working hard towards it. It's mostly it's to help you work hard towards your own path and your own truth, and again, your own whoever you are and what you're meant to learn and understand. So, you know, I want to say that I'm very happy, and I'm smiling and feeling contentment because your guides feel that, and they're extremely happy and they're extremely content with this beautiful year that is going to be evolving, and is going to show so much brilliance for all of you that have been working so hard to achieve your goals and to achieve your dreams. Now, having said that too, we're going to move on. I want to say a tidbit about people who are trying to lose weight, even myself included. And again, the clean living and clean health comes in for this year. So there is, and it's always, this is one of those repeatable patterns of transmission. So this is one that goes on off, and it's always there. So and that's okay, but we are there's a huge influx with that, and there is beautiful Merlin associated with the with this stream of I can't think of the word, not what they call them, but you know, this message is coming out about losing the weight. So they want to think things, they want us for us to embrace things in a much lighter and more happier kind of way, to find inventive and unusual ways to actually achieve our goals, and to finding a happier place to be in regards to weight loss or health and fitness. So that's the one, and that program has already started last October, and it's going to go all the way until October of this year. And for some of you may even involve joints pain and or neurological issues associated with that. But that's, again, that's to release it and to bring even more an awareness or whatever it is attached to that. Yeah, usually joints and neurological issues or joint pains, let's do one at a time. Joint pain, most of the time, the major issues with joint pain associated to an emotional or an easy push button, as I like to call them, oftentimes has to do with flexibility, and oftentimes has to do with flexibility of mind. So whenever we are too fond of our beliefs, and especially if it's time for those beliefs to be reviewed, and it's time for us to let go some of those beliefs, no matter what they are, no matter if you ascertained those beliefs when you were 3-year-old, 4-year-old, and you are holding on to them so tight, the joint pain can come in specific area, and for each belief is a different area to bring light to that. Now, neurological issues, which are going to be more predominant in the summer, especially towards the end, so July and August, into September, those issues have to do emotionally. Let me just see, I'm just waiting for them to tell me whatever it is they need to hear. Okay, so those the neurological issue, transmission or way for your physical body to communicate to you through your neurological pathways. And what I mean by that is like anything that falls under fibromyalgia, MS, pins and needles, circulation, any kind of neuropathy, anything like that. That has to do with not having digested actually the right thoughts or the right emotions. So it is there to bring attention to you to whatever is sitting that is toxic, and it's creating toxicity pretty much throughout your body because of someone else's having done or said something to you, and whether or not that's still festering. Now, the one thing about that is, or anything that I'm talking about, is that you consciously, as you are in this moment, maybe thinking, well, I got nothing, I'm not holding on to anything, I'm good, I don't have any issue. And that is true. In this moment, you don't. It's not you that is really protesting and trying to communicate to you through your physical body. It's actually a younger version of yourself. Someone else's that was created at the time, whatever time it was, at whatever age when you were younger, that is trying to let you know that they're not happy. And they're the ones who didn't digest something way back then that you didn't handle, or weren't able to handle then, or you didn't have the tools to handle. And now you may have the tool to handle it. And it's letting you know, hey, there is some stuff that, it's from way back then, but it's still there. It still was created. It's still real to me. And I'm the one who's not happy about it. It doesn't have to be you in this present moment, but it is a part of yourself. So what we call younger selves, younger children, aspect of ourselves, fractals, whatever you want to call it. It's just another way of saying it. So bring that attention to you. To bring that attention to you, there's going to be a huge influx of that over the months of July and August into September as well, to break through these barriers and these belief system and these patterns that are creating even more pain. Okay? All right, so I want to see if there is anything else that I need to say. Okay, they keep pointing to the back of the neck and the spine area. And that's, okay. That's for those people. So we're talking about January 21st. The area of the neck, right at the base of the head and the back of the neck and down to that's an area where our spirits, our soul self leaves or escapes or, just exits. Actually, that's the better word. Nobody leaves or escapes or anything like that. I mean, it's by choice, so it's nobody's making us do anything. But when we sleep, oftentimes we astral travel, time travel, do all kinds of travels. We're not really sleeping, but our consciousness can take flight and exit our body through this point in the back. That's also an entry point for when you're channeling, for when you're receiving messages from your guides. Oftentimes, that's one of the entry points. This is the soul entry. It's where things come in and out. Like that, meaning that has to do with the souls or higher consciousness, your higher self, whatever you want to call it. I don't really do labels, so I only use these terms for you guys, but I don't. Otherwise, I don't really use labels. So, in that regard, that area, it's also an area that can be weakened during advancement in, while we go through exploration of cells and expansion of cells. And what I'm being shown is for those of you who are mostly star beings and galactic beings, and that means children too. That may be why there may be more tantrum right after that, because a lot of the children on Earth right now, a lot of it is they're star beings. They may have issues with interference, but also as you're expanding the area to allow for you to be into a much higher vibration and to allow from higher being, communicating with higher being or channeling with higher being, guidance from higher being, it can, even my speech is being affected now as I say, because it will affect you and it can make you feel a little weird. And it can, you can either have pain if you have blocks into the neck area, around the sides of your, the ears or the shoulders, and all the way down the spine. It's usually to the upper spine, not the lower spine. That has to do with the root chakra, so the upper spine between the shoulder blade, that's usually the area. And so if you are one of those who are meant to bring more attention to you, and you're going through an expansion, an activation, or an attunement to a higher vibrational energy, you're going to feel it right there. And that's it's going to be around, January 21st. I think I said, or 20th or 21st. And it's going to go all the way until March 3rd. Okay? All right, I think that's it. That's all I need to say about this. You got a lot of cool dates. Oh, wait. Sorry, it just came in. I want to give you some dates to play the lottery. Now, a word of caution. I'm not going to play the lottery. But if you are meant to play, if it's part of your path and it's part of what you're meant to experience, you'll be able to do that around those dates, or dates that you can ask your guides to give you for that reason. If you're not, no matter who gives you dates, no matter how much you try and manifest it, it's not going to happen. But you may still get a little bit. But there's a much greater chances and ability to receive something, even if it is $1. Or you may receive it in a different way. So these are favorable dates. Okay, so I'm going to give you some. I'm going to ask him to, and again, don't get too attached to these dates, please, because it doesn't work that way. And I don't really want to go into it in depth at this moment, but I will do a whole session on what I mean by that. So take it with caution. Don't go and spend $1,000 on tickets just because I told you these dates. You need to use your, your guidance as well. Check. Not everybody's going to be able to benefit from this. But because again, this is a general, it's a bandwidth, it's a general push, it's whatever is supposed to be transmitted out there. It may have a purpose, not it may have, it has a purpose. Whatever that purpose is, it doesn't always have to be given. Because again, sometimes we just need to go blind. So I'm a little bit cautionary about this because I don't want to hear back, hey, you gave me this dates, I didn't win anything. So let me check with my people first, because even doing something like this, I guess it's a lesson for me too. Oh my God. Okay, let me check first. I want to make sure. Yes, I'm getting a yes. Okay, so some of you will benefit from this. Some of you need to go through this, maybe even from me. Okay, but again, I don't want you to go out and spend an enormous amount of money on this. These are dates. They're favorable. There's a higher percentage, but doesn't mean that you will. It's just a probability and possibility kind of thing. Okay, but you have to do work, so it's up to you. It's not up to me. It's up to you. Okay, first date is January 18th, 16. Second date is February 1st, 17, 2117. Love that number. Okay. They're going to give me the fourth date first, which is August 5th, 17th, and May 3rd, 17. Okay, and then there's one in November 10th. But that's a very iffy one because November is not a good month for money and that kind of thing. So I'm not sure about that one, but it still feels that some of you maybe will benefit. So those are the dates. That's it. I'm done. Love you guys. I'll come back around beginning of February to do a recap of February and of March, into March, okay? So lots of love to you guys. Thank you so much for listening. My name is Simona. Most of you know me, and have a great day. Take care. Bye.